Hi, it's a rainy day. A great day to talk about weather tightness, water tightness. So, what we have on the screen, it's SOLAS Chapter 2, Part 1, Regulation 2, Paragraph 16 gives us the definition of weathertight. Weathertight means that in any sea conditions, water will not penetrate into the ship. Well, weathertight as a word, it's composed by two other words, weather and tight. It means actually a barrier between the external world and something which is enclosed and needs to be kept dry. Whether it's outside, inside, there is no weather. When we say weather, in the context of this definition, it means that we would not allow the water produced by the weather inside the ship's hull, which means actually occasional sea spray, occasional rainfall, occasional waves crashing against the sealing arrangement, melting snow and stuff. So whatever the weather can produce as water. And tight, of course, means that barrier, that separation, that interface between what we need to protect against the weather and the weather itself. So that is weathertight. And then we need to clarify in any sea conditions. When we say in any sea condition, literally means whatever the earth can give us, which means even waves of 25, 30 meters high, kind of common inside the vortex of a tropical revolving storm and so on. But this is not quite true. Any sea conditions refers to conditions which can be measured by somebody, and that somebody can come out alive from those conditions. It's not the case of the vortex of a typhoon. Entering there, it doesn't mean that come back out alive. So how we can measure those conditions and to limit them in order to maintain the weather tightness of certain barriers, of certain sealing arrangements. Well, we have Beaufort scale. Beaufort scale goes to 12. 12 means phenomenal sea, so it's already too much. 11 Beaufort might be the limit for the weather tightness, but it's not. Actually, any sea conditions refers to particular vessels in particular situations, like they are in ballast, or they are loaded, they are big, they are small, they have a high freeport, a low freeport, they have a lot of power in the shaft and in the propeller, or they do not have a lot of power in the shaft or in the propeller. So this any sea condition is something adaptable to the vessel, and also we should think about the time component. You may expose a vessel to 9 Beaufort, for example, for a few hours and nothing can happen to that vessel. But if you expose that vessel to 9 Beaufort for 1 week, many things can happen. So damage can occur to various fittings on deck, or to hatch covers, or to doors, or to vent heads of tanks and so on. So it's a time component also contained in these any sea conditions, and for how long we keep these any sea conditions, which again we can measure, and they are adaptable for the type of the vessel, size of the vessel, and situation of that vessel in that moment, on that moment. So that is weathertight. We find the same definition of weather tightness in the International Convention on Load Lines. I'm not going to read it, absolutely the same thing. I want to point out to three regulations from International Convention on Load Lines. That is Regulation 14, which deals with the construction and the means for securing the weather tightness of cargo and other hatchways, position 1 and 2. And then they send us to read Regulation 1516, how this can be achieved for different types of hatch covers. Regulation 15, hatch covers secure weather tight by tarpaulins and battering devices. Regulation 16 deals with steel hatch covers with sealing arrangements and clamping devices. So rubber packing basically, and clamping devices, quick acting cleats. So positions 1 and 2 referred here can be seen in this drawing, and they come from a resolution of the Maritime Safety Committee 169, which is this. We will talk just a little bit later about that. So position 1 and 2,
For a bulk carrier, for example, with a flush deck, means 25% from the ship's length starting from the bow, so 0.25 from the length, and position 2 for the rest of the 75%. For a bulk carrier with a protection on the bow like this one, there is no position 1, so there is only position 2, which means everything is protected. Therefore, the strengthening arrangement of hedge coamings, hedge covers must be diminished, and also all other sealing arrangements toward the external world. There may be some other situation, general cargo vessel, container vessel, or special design vessels having 3 superstructures like we see here on the forecastle, bridge deck, and then a poop deck, where positions 1 and 2 alternate. So position 1 and 2 referred in the International Convention on Load Lines refers to those constructive arrangements of the vessel and how the fittings and the construction is protected on the bow of the vessel, where we expect stronger weather conditions compared to the rest of the vessel. So I mentioned Resolution 169 from the Maritime Safety Committee, which is this one. It is adopted on 9 December 2004, so a long time ago. And it is called Standards for Owners, Inspection and Maintenance of Bulk Carriers Hatch Covers. This is one of the rare cases when International Maritime Organization speaks directly to ship owners and specifically to bulk carrier owners. IMO, International Maritime Organization, gives orders to flag administration further on to the recognized organization classification society. So that's the way it works, except few important cases, and this is one of them. Resolution 169 has 6 pages. The first page is with the usual introduction, then there is a blank page somewhere, and finally we are having the text of this resolution on 4 pages only. It is very important. It gives the directions about the inspection and maintenance of bulk carriers, something which did not exist before 9 December 2004, and an important stuff which is mentioned here. A direct order without giving any way to escape under paragraph 3.3, where checks shall consist. So where you see shall is not the future, it's an imperative. That's how the conventions and all the official papers expressed the direct order. It's not should, may, if you like, do us a favor, it's just shall. You have to do it, you must do it. Consists of an external examination, closed hatch cover, securing arrangements in anticipation of and after heavy weather, but in any event at least once a week, weather permitting. And then it says something which is related to the position 1 and position 2 we saw before. Particular attention shall be paid to the condition of hatch covers in the 4 or 25% of the ship's length where sea loads are normally greater, so exposed to stronger weather conditions. So from here it comes also the requirement under classification society rules for enhancing the strength of the bulk carrier, specifically on the forward part of the vessel, the 25% representing position 1 in flush deck constructions. So from here it comes. Well, like it was not enough, Resolution 169, it's introduced fully in Chapter 12 from SOLAS, which is additional measures to enhance bulk carrier safety. This is Resolution 170 from the same date, 9 December 2004. And one of the regulations there, among other amendments introduced in SOLAS, it's about this. So it's Regulation 7, and paragraph 2 says bulk carriers shall comply with the maintenance requirements provided in Regulation 3.1 from Chapter 2, Part 1 of SOLAS, and the standards for owners and so on, the full title, the full name of Resolution 169. So it's introduced in SOLAS, therefore it's mandatory. Going back to SOLAS, since we said so,
Chapter 2, Part 1, Regulation 2, Paragraph 17 gives us the definition of watertightness, just to see what's the difference with the weathertight, where in weathertight we have some occasional conditions produced by the weather. Here in watertightness, we have a totally different thing. Definition sounds like this. Watertight means having scantlings arrangements capable of preventing the passage of water in any direction under the head of water likely to occur in intact and damaged conditions. So first of all, it's a head of water, which means a constant pressure against the surroundings of that space where there is water. So the water pushes against bulkheads, towards the nearby compartments, towards the fuel oil tanks, the lower stools, upper stools, cofferdams, towards the ballast tanks, which are nearby, or some other compartments like engine room. If cargo hold, the last cargo hold in a bulk carrier, it's flooded. So watertight actually refers to a condition of the vessel in the inner hull. Has nothing to do with the interface to the outer world, like weathertight does. Towards the universe. Watertight, or watertightness, it's a property of sealing arrangement between compartments inside of a ship's hull. So that is the head of water, a constant pressure against the surroundings. And then the other quality of a watertightness arrangement is that the water would not penetrate from both sides of that separation. So either of these compartments is filled with water, the water would not penetrate beyond the surroundings of it. So from the ballast tanks would not penetrate towards the fuel oil tanks or the cargo compartments, and of course the other way around. So watertight has nothing to do with ingress of water from the outside world, like we are tempted to say about the hatch covers, watertight hatch covers. There is no watertight hatch covers. There are weathertight hatch covers, which means totally different thing, like occasional conditions and not a constant pressure against that sealing arrangement. I hope we clarify sufficiently these two terms and when and how they are used, and from where actually come all these regulations about the hatch covers, and also what's the importance of SOLAS, and also the resolutions issued by the Maritime Safety Committees of IMO. So thank you for seeing this.